Hello, my friends. Welcome to Learn English with Podcast. In today's episode, we are back again for slow English listening and fluency practice. Today's episode will be very special. Today, we will use the Learn English with Stories method. And not just any story, we will listen to an immortal love story. This is especially effective for those who want to start from the Learn English with Stories beginners level and gradually move forward. Today's story is one of the greatest stories of love and sacrifice in world literature. The name of the story is The Gift of the Magi. This immortal story from English literature was written by the famous American author O. Henry. This story is about love, sacrifice, and the glory of dedicating one's most precious possession for another. In today's story, we will see how two loving people, by sacrificing their most valuable possessions, teach us what true wealth really is. The first time I read this story, it brought tears to my eyes. It is not just a story, it is a unique definition of love. So today, I will tell you this story slowly, in simple English. Just sit back comfortably, listen carefully, and enjoy the story. Learning English through Learn English with Stories is the most fun and effective way. Before we start, if you enjoy our Learn English with Podcast episode, please like the video, share it with a friend who is also learning English for slow English listening and fluency practice, and subscribe to the channel. This really helps the channel grow and reach more learners.
So, let's begin. The story takes place many years ago. It was Christmas Eve, the day before Christmas. The main character of our story is named Della. Della is a young woman, recently married. Her husband's name is Jim. They live in a small rented house. The house is very simple, very cheap. Their financial condition is not good. We can say they are poor. Poor means lacking even the necessary things. Della and Jim's life is very hard. Their monthly income is not enough to run the household. They always have to budget their money carefully. Sometimes, even before the month ends, their pockets are empty. But still, they love each other very much. They had two things that they were especially proud of. The first was a gold watch that Jim's grandfather had given him. This watch was not just a timepiece for Jim. It was his family heirloom. It belonged to his father and grandfather, and now it was his. Although the watch looked old, it was valuable. And the second was Della's hair. Della's hair was so beautiful that it looked like a cascade of golden sunshine. Her hair was so long it reached down to her ankles. When she let it down, it was like a shawl of hair enveloping her. Della took great care of her hair, and it was her most prized possession. Now it was Christmas Eve. Della had only $1.87. $1.87. What could she buy for Jim with this money? She starts to cry. She thinks she has been saving money all year, but this is all she could manage. Della stands in the small room. She looks out the window. Across the street, a shop has been decorated for Christmas. People are buying gifts. Everyone is happy. But Della is sad. She thinks she must buy a gift for Jim. Jim does so much for her. He is a wonderful husband. But what will she buy? What can you buy with so little money? Suddenly, an idea comes to her mind. An idea means a thought or a plan. She stands in front of the mirror. She looks at her long, beautiful hair. Tears come to her eyes. She touches her hair. Then she stands up straight. She says, "I have to do something." She immediately goes outside. She goes to a shop where hair is bought and sold. There is a signboard in front of the shop. It says, "All types of hair bought." Della enters the shop. The owner of the shop is a woman. Della asks her, "Will you buy my hair?" The woman is amazed to see Della's hair. She says, "What beautiful hair! All right, I will buy it." Della asks, "How much will you give?" The woman thinks for a while and says, "I can give you $20. Della hesitates for a moment. $20? That's a lot of money for her. But then she thinks of Jim. She thinks of buying a gift for Jim. She agrees. Then what happens is very hard. The woman cuts Della's long golden hair with scissors. The hair falls to the floor. Della looks at herself in the mirror. Her hair is now short like a boy's. She can barely recognize herself. But she has no regrets.
Because she knows with this money she can buy the best gift for Jim. Della goes to the market. She looks around many shops. Finally, in a small shop, she sees something that makes her eyes sparkle. It was a platinum chain. Platinum is an expensive metal. The chain was very simple in design, but very strong and beautiful. This chain was absolutely perfect for Jim's gold watch. Jim's watch was valuable, but its leather strap was old. If this chain was attached, the watch would look like new. Della asks the shopkeeper, "How much is this?" The shopkeeper says, $21. Della calculates. She has $20, a little less. She pleads with the shopkeeper. Seeing her sadness, the shopkeeper gives her the chain for $20. Della returns home. She has the gift for Jim in her hand, but now she has no hair on her head. She looks at herself in the mirror and thinks, "What will Jim think when he sees me? Will he like me?" Then she tries to style her short hair. Pulling some hair forward, pushing some back, she tries to make herself look a little pretty. But she knows she is not the same as before. Evening approaches. Della prepares dinner. She sets the table. Then she sits by the door, waiting for Jim. She holds her gift in her hand, looking at it again and again. She imagines how Jim's eyes will light up when he sees this chain. Jim will take out his watch. Then they will sit together. This thought fills her heart with joy. Suddenly, she hears footsteps on the stairs. Jim is coming. Della quickly stands by the door. Jim opens the door and comes inside. He looks a little tired. He has just returned home from work at the office. He comes in and closes the door. Then he looks at Della. And then what happens next, Della doesn't understand. Jim just stands there. He doesn't move. He stares at her face. There is a strange expression in his eyes. Della can't understand what this expression is. It's not anger. It's not surprise. It's not disgust either. It's something else. He just keeps looking at Della. Della feels a little scared. She quickly goes to Jim. She says, "Jim dear, don't look at me like that. I cut my hair. I sold it. I know you are surprised to see me, but I'm telling you, I did it for you. I wanted to give you a gift for Christmas. Do you still love me, even without my hair?" Jim doesn't say anything. He just keeps looking at Della. Then suddenly, he hugs Della. He holds her tight. Then he takes a small package out of his pocket. He puts the package on the table. He says, "Della, don't misunderstand. I am not thinking anything about your hair. I know that whatever you do with love. But you look at me. You open the package. Then you'll understand why I was a little surprised." Della's hands are trembling. She slowly opens the package. Seeing what's inside, she screams with joy. But immediately, tears come to her eyes. Do you know what was inside the package? Inside the package was a pair of combs, expensive combs. The combs were made of tortoise shell. The combs were so beautiful that Della had dreamed of seeing them her whole life. She had wanted to buy such combs for a long time, but she didn't have the money. And now, these combs were right in front of her. Crying, Della takes the combs in her hands. Then she looks at Jim. She says, "Jim, these are wonderful. But look, I have no hair. Now what will I do with these?" Jim smiles. He sits beside Della. He says, "Della, don't mind. Actually, I bought these combs for your hair. I thought on Christmas Day you would style your hair with these combs. But what has happened, let's not be sad about it." Della looks at the combs. Then suddenly, she remembers the gift she bought. She quickly runs and brings the platinum chain from Jim's coat. She gives the chain to Jim. She says, "Jim, this is the gift I bought. I know you always love to take out your watch and check the time. This chain will make the watch even more beautiful. Quick, give me your watch. Let's see how it looks." Jim takes the chain in his hands. He looks at the chain. He looks at it very carefully. Then he smiles very slowly. but his smile is a little strange. Della asks, "What's wrong, Jim? Don't you like the chain?" Jim shakes his head. He says, "Della, the chain is wonderful, but I can't show you the watch now." Della asks, surprised, "Why? Where is the watch?" Jim says slowly, "I sold the watch today. I bought the combs for you with that money." Now Della falls silent. Both of them are silent for a while. Then they both start laughing together. Della rests her head on Jim's chest. Jim hugs Della. Della says, "Jim, look, our gifts are now useless. You have no watch, I have no hair. The chain and combs won't be of any use to us." Jim says, "Yes, Della, but look, this is love. We have sacrificed our most precious possessions for each other. Even though these gifts are now useless, our love is immortal." The name of this story is The Gift of the Magi. Who are the Magi? The Magi are the three wise men who went to give gifts to Jesus at his birth. According to the Bible story, these three wise men named Melchior, Gaspar, and Balthazar gave Jesus gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. O. Henry writes at the end of his story, Della and Jim did not choose the best gifts with their intelligence, but with their love, with their sacrifice, they have become as great as those three wise men. Because the real gift is love, and Della and Jim gave that love to each other. This story teaches us that sacrificing for love is the greatest gain. Della sold her hair, Jim sold his watch. The gifts they bought ultimately became useless.
But their love remains eternal. The glory of their sacrifice has made this story immortal. All right. Thank you all very much for listening to another episode of English Vibecast. Heart-touching stories like this help you improve your English listening skills, vocabulary, and ability to understand emotions. So try listening to this story again, read the story aloud, and practice shadowing. And remember, like Della and Jim's love, your journey of learning English will also be successful with sacrifice and regular practice. Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing, and believe in yourself. Goodbye for now.